Working in a school or other educational setting means you're likely to have conversations about difficult or upsetting topics. Children are inquisitive and like to explore and find out about things they don't understand. And this means that you need to be prepared and plan ahead for these conversations. Now, we all know that children like to ask lots of questions, so always expect the unexpected. National and international events can impact pupils in different, unpredictable ways. For example, topics such as Grenfell, Black Lives Matter, the Ukraine conflict, and climate change can be very sensitive and even triggering for children. Navigating these incredibly sensitive issues is something that you must do to ensure that young people can understand what's happening in the world around them. Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from My Progression, and today we're going to be looking at how to discuss sensitive topics with your pupils. Without warning, a child could ask you questions about something that they've heard on the news, or an event might trigger a child to begin to discuss a sensitive topic. It's important that you feel well equipped to have these discussions to best support your pupils. So before speaking to your pupils about something that could be sensitive, triggering, or upsetting, you must plan how you're going to broach the subject in advance. Just like you plan a lesson, you need to consider the objectives of the discussion. What do you want your class to get out of it? It might be that the end goal is for the class to share their opinion on a topic. For example, after discussing discrimination, you might give them an open space to share their thoughts and feelings. On the other hand, the objective of your session might be to teach your class about official guidance, such as reducing the transmission of infection during the COVID-19 pandemic, or how to stay safe in a terrorist attack. For discussions like this, it's all about your pupils' understanding of the topic, but there should still be lots of opportunity for them to ask questions and talk about their feelings. Be mindful that some of your pupils may have faced trauma in their past related to the topic of discussion, and this is where parent or carer permission needs to be gained. It's important that you communicate with them before the discussion to inform them what you'll be talking about with the children and how you're going to deliver it. It's also vital you share the content with your line manager and get their approval before delivering. Now, just like you would plan tasks for a lesson, planning activities to help facilitate discussions about sensitive topics is essential. This is to ensure your pupils are engaged and feel confident to explore. Some people don't feel comfortable to talk openly. When considering your activities, you need to have a range of options to work out how your class will best engage. For example, for a primary school task, you may ask them to create a piece of artwork to express their feelings. In secondary schools, you could use drama activities for pupils to empathise with others, or debates to encourage them to share their opinions. The NSPCC recommend using text to support starting a discussion. These could be fictional books for primary-age children, or if it's been in the news recently, you could use newspaper articles or clips from child-friendly websites such as Newsround. In the description, you can find a link for the NSPCC library where they've carefully selected books suitable to use to start conversations around a range of topics, including death, abuse, mental health, terrorism, and world events. For secondary-age children, you can use any trustworthy news sources and share these articles with your pupils, if you deem the content to be appropriate. When using information you found online, you must ensure that the resources you've selected are reliable without any bias. So before you have the conversation, it's important you set the tone early on. This can be done by setting rules, ensuring that values such as respect and consideration are demonstrated throughout. Some examples of rules in primary school could be: we will listen to each other's ideas actively and respond when appropriate. If we disagree with something, we'll do it respectfully. In secondary schools, the expectations will differ slightly, as they should have secured skills such as listening and turn-taking. Secondary-age children may need rules such as building on other people's ideas and adding detail to show active listening. They may have more of a focus on aspects such as remaining neutral or how to critique someone else's point. As an educator, you should set the example and be a role model for your pupils regarding tonality, ensuring you stay neutral without showing any bias. If you notice children in your class not following the rules, for example interrupting one another or criticising character rather than ideas, you must take control. A good way to do this is to remind your class they're part of a community and being respectful always comes first, following the usual behaviour policy. Throughout the discussion, it's important that every pupil is given the opportunity to share their voice. This should be an open discussion where the children have the choice to participate. They shouldn't feel any pressure to speak if they aren't ready. It's your responsibility to ensure you create a safe space where pupils feel comfortable to share their thoughts and feelings. As well as this, children need time to process different topics. They should be allowed to set their own pace. This could involve you giving them extra time throughout the session and afterwards to digest the information and come up with any questions. During the conversation, be mindful of any safeguarding issues that might arise and make sure you're following up and recording any concerns in line with your school's safeguarding procedures. Pupils may disclose something when discussing sensitive topics, as they might relate this to something that's happening in their life. It's important you recognise the signs a child has experienced or is experiencing adverse events in their life and report this appropriately. For more information about safeguarding, including information about spotting the signs, watch our 3-part accredited course linked in the description below. Whilst you're there, hit like, subscribe and click on the bell so you never miss a video from My Progression. When dealing with difficult questions, it's important to remain neutral and show no bias. This includes not displaying strong emotions towards something a child says, as this could discourage them from sharing with you. It's important you're always open and honest when answering a child's question, at the same time considering age and emotional maturity. Now, in some cases, your pupils may ask you questions out of the blue. It's important that you think carefully about your answer before responding, ensuring everything is factual and unbiased. Phrases such as, "That's a very interesting question, thank you for asking. I'm going to research it later and come back to you tomorrow with an accurate answer," will ensure that you're never put in a position where you feel out of your comfort zone, and this can be used as a temporary stalling technique. Now, if you're not sure on an answer to a question, be honest. It's vital that you provide your pupils with accurate information, so if you don't know the answer, tell your pupils. This gives you a chance to research the answer together using reliable websites. Showing pupils how to research is a great skill for them to avoid incorrect information and unreliable sources online. When you're discussing topics with children, it's essential that you use the right language and age-appropriate terminology for the group you're speaking to, whether they're primary or secondary. Try to avoid using euphemisms, as it's important that the pupils learn factually from you. In order to understand a topic, you must give your class the full picture using language they understand and giving them the opportunity to ask questions. After the conversation, it's important your pupils have time to reflect on what they've learned. You must continue to treat your classroom as a safe space where children have the opportunity to ask questions and talk about things that might have upset them. A follow-up session may be beneficial to check in and allow them to share any thoughts and feelings. In secondary settings, communication between different teachers is important, so pupils have the opportunity to speak to different adults. To ensure your pupils are well supported after the session, it's important to share reliable websites where they can find out more information, especially for secondary-age children. Encourage them to share what they've learned with someone at home or speak to other friends about it so they continue to discuss the topic. As well as this, you should ensure that children of all ages know the Childline number and how to contact the helpline for support for safeguarding purposes, but also to share worries and concerns. It's important that sensitive topics are explained to children in an age-appropriate manner, giving your pupils an open space to ask questions and share their thoughts and feelings. Before having these conversations, it's vital you plan the language and vocabulary you'll use and the activities to engage your class. Pre-preparing will be critical to have an effective discussion, ensuring only age-appropriate content is taught. You must be knowledgeable on the topic you're discussing to accurately answer any questions that pupils might have. Now, as we said earlier, children of all ages can ask unexpected and at times tricky to answer questions, so be as prepared as you can. If you don't know the answer, be honest and model how to use reliable websites to collect information. When answering questions, you must stay neutral and unbiased, responding only with facts where appropriate. Discussing sensitive topics with children of any age can be challenging. However, with careful planning and a good understanding of age-appropriate content, you can have successful discussions where your pupils leave understanding more about the events happening in the world around them. I've been Natalie from My Progression, and let's keep your career in motion.